Welcome back. I am Natalie and you are the company. We talk about books here on little old YouTube. Maybe about a month ago, I did book recommendations based on your favorite Van Gogh paintings, and people really liked it. They enjoyed those recommendations. So I thought I might delve into my love of art and my love of books a little bit, shake them up again, and bring you recommendations based on your favorite Picasso painting. Let's get into these book recommendations. First, we have one of his most recognizable paintings, The Old Guitarist, a soliloquy in painting form. The Old Guitarist is one of Picasso's earliest paintings and a staple of his blue period, in which he experimented with the tones and feelings of the color blue, mostly. If this is your personal favorite Picasso, I would recommend for you My Struggle by Karl Ove Knausgaard. My Struggle is a autobiographic tale of Knausgaard and his deeply philosophical approach to life. Completely raw is his interpretation of his own life experiences. Knausgaard weaves some of the most intense and crushing moments of his time on this earth into their own soliloquy form. Picasso's blue period paintings like La Vie and Absinthe Drinker often hold a more popular enjoyment as they are created in a more realistic and stereotypical style compared to some of Picasso's later works, of course. If you find yourself loving these blue period works the most, I would recommend to you Anne Carson's translation of Bacchae. In this brand new translation of one of Euripides' final tales, Anne Carson works her magic on the text like she always does, bringing the ever irrelevant themes of one of Euripides' most impactful plays into a modern context. It is dark and humorous in tandem. It feels truly ponderous towards the darker shades of life, just as Picasso's blue period was. If Picasso's early portraits, like Portrait of Gov Coquet, Reading, Le Gourmet, Harlequin with a Cigarette, or Self-Portrait are your favorite, you might admire a wholly singular view of an individual, such as the one in Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. Here, a woman marries a man, but upon moving into his house, repeatedly finds the leftover shadows of his previously deceased wife, Rebecca, in every corner. Her portrait hangs almost, but not quite, empty over the fireplace still. If Picasso's early portraits are a little tame for you, and you would prefer something of the cubist variety, such as Portrait of Ambrose Vollard, Man with Guitar, or Harlequin, you might end up a fan of The Aleph and Other Stories, a short story compilation by Jorge Luis Borges, in which the title story, The Aleph, describes a point in space that contains all other spaces at once. And this is just one of the many puzzling stories in this collection. Its warped perspectives and twisting journey just feel so fitting here alongside these cubist perceptions. If all of these portraits weren't enough for you, and you find yourself leaning towards Picasso's surrealist portraits instead, you will almost certainly enjoy the surrealist portrait of the Slade House in Slade House by David Mitchell. This is a short tale about a mysterious house that stands down an alleyway that is only visible under the right circumstances. At the end of the alleyway is a beautiful house that seems almost unreal until you're suddenly stuck inside for years. By then, the Slade House is all too real to you. If Picasso's arguably most impactful piece of art, Guernica, is your favorite piece by him, let me share with you one of the most impactful pieces of literature that I've read recently, Prophet Song by Paul Lynch. This is a story about a family trying its best to exist under increasingly authoritarian rule. Their world begins to bleed color, losing shine. Things become muddled and choices and options are no longer clear anymore. The old definitions of what is right and wrong fail here. It feels right to give some war commentary alongside Picasso's own war commentary. If, like me, your favorite Picasso is The Three Musicians, or any of his other bright, flatly colored paintings, which were heavily inspired by African art and masks, it feels only proper to give a wonderful autobiographical tale of a black woman named Mary C. Cole here as a recommendation. The Wonderful Adventures of Mrs. C. Cole in Many Lands is the tale of a Jamaican black woman who attempted to become a nurse during war periods in the 1800s, and who, after denied positions several times, created her own facility which she would treat and care for wounded soldiers in. I am reminiscing about Van Gogh with some of these landscapes that Picasso has created, like the Crucifixion or Night Fishing, the Menina's Joie de Vivre. And in pondering these landscapes, I'm so rapidly reminded of Piranesi by Susanna Clark. The landscapes that Clark molds in her book twist and turn and curve in a way so eerily similar to Picasso's own. In Piranesi, our protagonist lives in an infinite building, a maze of rooms. It is the only thing that he has ever known, and he has never wanted to question it until a single crack in his perception of reality causes everything to come tumbling down. Piranesi is one of my favorite books of all time, so this recommendation comes from my own mental landscape as well. In response to some of his other surrealist works, such as The Dream, I have a very specific recommendation. The figure in this painting reminds me so much of the first female character that we meet in If on a Winter's Night a Traveler by Italo Calvino. This is a book written in second person, showing a vignette of lives and the ways in which they ebb and flow within the ideas of the world. With its offbeat writing style and lack of pace, this book feels surreal in the same way Picasso's paintings show it. If The Weeping Woman strikes you so deeply with its shapes and colors, I think you would find enjoyment in the classic that is Coraline by Neil Gaiman. Neil Gaiman's young adult novels always hit harder than his adult ones. Coraline, specifically, showing a warped and innately suffered version of motherly love, just as the weeping woman who stares at you from Picasso's painting. When looking at The Kiss, we find a couple so intertwined that they are imperceptible from each other. When looking at this, it's almost impossible not to think of Cloud Atlas by David Mitchell. Cloud Atlas is a tale in which two souls are inextricably paired, meeting again and again and again as they move through the cycles of life. The pair in David Mitchell's story, Cloud Atlas, reminds me so intensely of the pair in Picasso's The Kiss. And finally, if any of Picasso's still lifes, such as Flower and Bust, composition with a skull, composition with onion, composition with chocolatier, if any of those are your favorite, I would very much recommend to you House of Leaves by Mark Z. Danielewski. In House of Leaves, an increasingly warped experience of daily objects and the usual thoughts turns things into a twisted and almost paranoid reflection of the mind. Just as Picasso takes these ordinary daily objects and twists them within his own image before replicating them on paper. As Picasso himself commented, I paint objects as I think them, not as I see them. So maybe you will take some of these book recommendations and think about them instead of just seeing them. If you have any artists that you'd love to see me do this kind of thing for, let me know. Give a comment below. Go ahead, like the video and subscribe. I would love to see you back here. There will definitely be more of these in the future as I quite enjoy creating them. In my last video, one of my best friends took the recommendation that I gave her for her favorite and she read it within a day. Absolutely loved it. So I'm really happy that at least one singular person out there was able to benefit from my recommendation. So if you end up reading any of these books because I recommended them to you, please let me know. I would love to know. Even if you end up hating it, I would love to know if my recommendation was correct or not. Thanks for hanging out and keeping me company as always, and hope you have a great day.